Hey Kenyans, good afternoon once again. This is your Jomba Mobili Mogodi. I am coming to you live from the Republic of New Singapore. I'm so happy to be here. And today I wanted to dive into the history behind our elections and our electoral processes. Um, in the 1980s, I think 1988 is the last time we had an election called Amlolongo system of election, whereby you went and queued behind, you stood behind the candidate you prefer. And then uh, I think it was the administration then, district officers, DCs, who are the electoral commission. So they will literally count the people behind you, and the one with the longest queue or with the highest number of people automatically won that election. Until there was a candidate who had a very big queue behind him and his opponent had no one. And at the end of the process, the guy with no supporters behind him on his queue won that election. So that is when the electoral reforms were called. And well, it has been a big fight because I think the secret ballot was in 1992. I was a baby in 92, maybe 6 years old. And then you fast forward to 1997, I was around class 6. A relative of ours in Sagala was a Kanu official, and he was narrating to us how that election was conducted in 97. So basically, uh, I think there was an ECK then, Zakias Chesoni should have been the ECK chairperson. So basically, um, what these people will do is uh, you will go to the polling station and then you will cast your ballot, you will vote, and then they will close the polling station at 5 or 6 p.m. And then instead of opening the ballot boxes and counting votes, they would pack all these ballot boxes and transport them to Voi. There was a constituency tallying center, counting and tallying center, I think. And then, so it was the story that happened on the way to Voi from Sagala. That vehicle, or that it was a convoy of vehicles, will be diverted, and then there were people who were waiting for these vehicles with ballot boxes, and they will stuff them with uh, with, with 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 ballots marked in favor of then President Moi. Um, and that story has always stuck with me because I've always tried to understand, is it like watu walikuwa wajinga sana kipindi hicho? Is it like the population, tulikuwa, all of us, were we all fools? But then the people knew. The people always knew what the state is doing, subverting their will, and the people are always angry, and that is why uh, there has been a very, very strong fight by Kenyans to get a free, fair, verifiable, credible election. This has been an ongoing fight. In 2002, there were attempts at rigging, but then Kenyans outvoted the rigging machine that was KANU. That is why Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto failed, and Kibaki was elected president. In 2007, uh, again, it was not a free and fair election. It was not credible, and it is not verifiable. There is a high possibility that Raila Odinga's votes, it's not a high possibility. Baba aliibiwa 2007, tukubaliane ukweli. Because there was no way to verify the result. Everyone had their own result depending on where you come from. Fast forward to 2013, the independent IIEC, Interim Independent Electoral Commission, and then which became IEBC, tried to hold a free, fair, verifiable and credible election in 2013. We are not very sure if that one was achieved. And then 2017, Chief Justice Maraga with the Supreme Court nullified the whole election because there are some gaps. And those gaps came from how electoral laws were published or enacted into law. And these came under intense scrutiny by the Court of Appeal in the Maina Kiai Judgement. What the Court of Appeal narrowed down the issue to is what is the result of the election? What have the people intended with their ballot? If the sanctity of the vote is protected, okay, then it can only be protected when the election is free, is fair, it is verifiable, and it is credible. The whole process, all the way from voter registration until the declaration of the result. Because in between 2013 and 2017, there were some electoral laws which were introducing the 1997 games, whereby after now you have counted the votes and you have declared the result at the polling station, and then now that result, for it now to be announced or something like that, there are wordings that are not making sense in the act. Now it has to go to the constituency returning officer, who then now announces the result or declares the result. It was very confusing because now from the polling station to the constituency returning officer, now you see the 1997 game. This result, does it still remain credible? Is it verifiable? Because this is Kenya. We know what happens when things start moving around. So the Court of Appeal declared with finality that after the voting process has finished, the counting exercise completed, the presiding officer on Form 34A at the polling station declares the result of the presidential election. And that declaration is final. It can only be challenged in a court of law. It cannot be challenged by the constituency returning officer. It cannot be challenged by the national chairman of the IEBC. Whatever has been declared at the polling station is final. And that is the crux of the fight of the Kenyan electoral process. I want each and every Kenyan to understand that what we have to fight for and what we have to protect is each and every of our polling station. We must make sure that our polling station, made up of 700 people, must have 700 ballot papers for each candidate. It doesn't matter if it is presidential, gubernatorial, governor, MCA, whatever it is. There has to be 700 ballot papers allocated for that polling station. And those ballot papers, each ballot paper must be accounted for, just as per the rule state. So every rejected ballot must be accounted for. Every spoiled ballot must be accounted for. That is the only way we are going to defeat President Ruto in 2027. Because that is how he defeated Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in 2022. The election was won at the polling station. I keep on repeating, I still have them. Form 34A. Okay, this is a Form 34A. Form 34A is the result of the presidential election. We must protect the ballot and we must protect Form 34A. Whatever it is that happens after with those CG taking a picture of it and posting it at on the IEBC portal, leaving it at the door, it going where, all that does. What matters is this result. This is what each and every Kenyan in over 46,000 polling stations must have. Because now, after this is when we go and start tallying. Now, this is Mutomo primary, this is Mugumo primary, this is Ray primary. Ruto alipata 0, kura sufuri hapo, huyu amepata moja. And that is why I went all the way back to my childhood in 1997 to remember this kind of official story. And this thing has been a moving target until 2022 when the court made it final. The result at the polling station plotted on Form 34A is final and it is binding each and every contestant. And once it has been signed by the IEBC official and the agents, it can only be contested in a court of law. That will be the Supreme Court, nowhere else. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am Mwabili Mogodi. Please remember to support this channel by buying cashew nuts. Order your cashew nuts via 0799 428 109. I deliver all around the Republic of Kenya. And this is also to appeal to Kenyans abroad, wherever you are around the world. It is the US, China, India, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Europe, France, Asia, whatever it is you are, Australia. Please look for a high commission near you or a consular agency near you and find out where you can register to vote. We need each and every vote in the fight for 2027. Asanteni sana sana for your support. Thank you for your text messages, your calls, your Mpesas. Thank you, guys. This means a lot, and hopefully we shall win and we shall overcome. Thank you.